1, 2, 3, testing. Okay. Okay. That's fine.
Not right now.
No, close it. We need later. This is the introduction. Now? Now? Press it? Wait. Let me know. Time sequence. Waiting for the chat.
Try the
Hello, everyone. My name is Henad, and I want to welcome you to Hindsight 2020.
Hello, my name is Edgar, and my year is perfect, just like my vision, 2020.
Hold on, wait. You wear contacts, right?
Stop ruining the joke. We'll be your host for this virtual graphic design show.
We would like to start off by saying how much we appreciate that you're taking the time to watch our show. Putting up a senior show is a year tradition that has been shaking up this year a little bit.
Yes, that's right. Miss Rona from showcasing our work. We have been working remotely for almost a year, in hopes of graduating with a show to finish off our last semester. That is exactly what we will do tonight.
Well said, Edgar. That is why, against all odds, here we are. And because the show must go on, we gotta continue, right?
Yes.
We are a group of designers united through the CSULB BFA Graphic Design program. But what sets us apart are the unique experiences that shape us. Through our cumulative 4 semesters together, we've explored a spectrum of design specialties to find our passions and develop our individual styles. In the face of infinite possibilities, we can experience tunnel vision, even lose sight of the bigger picture. Only through hindsight can we evaluate our time in this program and carry on our lessons of exploration forward.
As we look back, we cannot change what we've done, but we have the opportunity to take control and change how we look at it. Whether we fail or succeed, the perspective we gain from the past can alter the decisions we make for our future endeavors. Through reflection, we unlock an area of potential within ourselves and brings us one step closer to growing as designers and making our mark in the industry.
Our experience is what we perceive it to be. This is the class of 2020 in hindsight.
Follow us into our journey of reflection and discover where we envision our past will lead.
Now, sit back and relax as we play a quick video of how this journey is about to start. Let's go.
And seeing more related projects like this, look at our website. It's hindsight2020.show. That's hindsight2020.show. And if that sounds like a little too much to type, then click on the link down below on the chat. Come on, I dare you.
I don't dare you.
No, but seriously, we're just kidding. But for real though, you won't regret it. You will view a wide range of graphic designers on our website. Some of those projects you just saw on our reel will be under their portfolio. Their contact information will be listed down on their page so you can have a one-on-one conversation with that individual designer after our show.
Moving on, I want to talk a little bit about graphic design in general, which over the years has evolved into a very diverse and broad field that has transcended the paper of posters and packaging to the digital world of motion design and user interface. Design can be virtually applied to anything, and that is why a designer can work in almost any field. Whether we design a style guide for a brand, for a sports brand, or wayfinding signage for a hospital, we can basically do it all. For myself, I'm leaning towards branding, packaging, and motion. What about yourself, Edgar?
Thank you for asking, Hanar. My field of interest is branding and UX UI product design. Mhm.
Great, that's awesome. I think we should ask our classmates as well. How does that sound?
Of course, yeah, the more the merrier. Let's
Absolutely.
let's have a further discussion with our classmates, the graduating class of Fall BFA 2020. Throughout our 2 years in the program, we have focused on several topics such as packaging, branding, motion design, and UX UI. Therefore, we have created 4 roundtable discussions for our peers to showcase their work. This will also give them insight of every designer's interest in these specific fields. As the viewer, please don't hesitate to ask any questions throughout the conversation. We will, yes, type away. We will accept general questions or direct questions towards a participant in the panel. Now, without any further ado, please help me welcome the packaging roundtable participants.
Hi everyone, I'm Amanda Pham, and I'm most interested in packaging, UX UI, motion graphics, and illustration. My design style can be described as structured, organized, and clean, but also has a human feel to it through my cute illustrations, cheesy puns, and clever copywriting. My work is a reflection of me as a person because I love including little Easter eggs that showcase my personality in some shape or form. I constantly feel like there's more to learn, so if you are interested in helping me grow as a designer, feel free to contact me. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jessie Hinstra. I like to call myself a multidisciplinary graphic designer. Because I like multiple aspects of graphic design, I am interested in working in a design firm and being able to work on a variety of different projects. Naturally, I would say that I have a bolder aesthetic to my design, but I am looking forward to continuing to grow and be versatile in my design executions. In my free time, I like to do ceramics, like this. And as for my future plans as a designer, I am looking forward to being able to design everything.
Hi, my name is Tin Vu, and my signature here is just Tin, meaning that just me being myself in this creative world. As a graphic designer, I love making packaging design and editorial works where I can express my creativity along with the cultural part to tell the story through them. On the other hand, I am also a freelance photographer and an illustrator. So let's collaborate and work together to beautify the world. Thank you.
Hey guys, my name is Amanda Nazarino, and I'm someone who lives and designs without borders. I love the conceptual thinking that goes into the design process, and that's why I most likely want to work in branding or packaging. Some things that inspire my work are good music, fashion, and environmental justice. And while I'm not quite sure where I want to go next in design, some goals of mine are to work in sustainable packaging or music branding like festivals and albums. So let's make something together.
Hi there, my name is Maribel Quinn, and I'm a graphic designer who's interested in various styles of design. I would call myself a multidisciplinary designer when I'm working on different projects. I definitely see myself working in the marketing industry because I love to see how impactful design can be. Projects that I love working on are the ones where I can create unique and out of the ordinary concepts where I can wow consumers, whether it's a project that includes UX UI, packaging, or even a campaign. And I'm so happy to be part of a program where I can work with such talented designers, and I'm so excited to be working with many more in the future. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jocelyn Martinez. I like to design and think outside of the box. I am interested in packaging design and UX UI because it keeps evolving and will continue to exist and attract the customers. My style is being very creative and adding personal connections to the projects, like adding Latino culture. I'm not sure where I'll go next in design, but my goal is to continue to be creative and work on eye-catching products. So let's get creative.
Hi guys, it's Leilani Sato, and I enjoy thinking creatively, whether it be in design or art. I've always been drawn to interesting and well-designed packaging, which is why I see myself working in packaging design. Along with that, I really enjoy the process and thought that goes into creating something that will end up being seen on store shelves and be purchased by customers. I would say that my design style is clean and fun, but sometimes it depends on what I'm designing. Currently, some goals of mine are to work in packaging design or designing in the beauty industry.
So welcome to the packaging discussion. It's great seeing you all of here today. For those wondering, packaging is a very important field in graphic design because it helps to keep the world a little bit more organized. Product packaging refers to designing the exterior of a product. And today we have prepared some related topics so that you can go a little more in depth into the experience and your creative design process. So how does that sound?
Great, I love that.
Yeah. So great. Let's begin with the discussion then. We're going to start by talking about what you think are the most important factors in packaging.
Yeah, so some of the most important factors to me include being able to easily identify what a product is. If a design is confusing or difficult to understand, then people can't really tell whether it's something they need or what it is. So thinking about your text and hierarchies and even color can really help consumers get what the product is and whether they should buy it. And another important factor to designing packaging is understanding who it's for. Something could have like such amazing packaging, but if it's not designed for that particular audience in mind, then it's not completely doing its job. We dealt with this when we did our HEB grocery project. We had to create a high tier and mid tier. And I did frozen waffles, and for the mid tier, I kept on wanting to make it look more luxurious, but I understood that I was designing for a generic store brand, and my design needed to fit that.
Yeah. And also to add on to that, I feel like the most important message to convey on a package is what you are trying to sell as a product through your design. Like focus on the brand name, the product itself, and especially the aesthetic design that will be eye-catching in order to persuade the shopper to add the item into their cart. For my past packaging design, I mainly focus on conveying the cultural message of the product and spreading that informative cultural information to other people. For example, I have my recent board game packaging display here, and the concept is based around the werewolf board game. And if you wonder what the game is about, it's basically similar to the Among Us game, where you have to take a role and then play and then fight the culprit with the Imperial Vietnamese setting in my board game. I mainly target the young American Vietnamese who like to play this type of board game. The game has multiple characters with different roles as well as the clothes that the Royal Vietnamese wore back in the day, so that not only the players will get to experience the game, but also have a chance to learn more about their original culture.
As you can see, there is a lot of thought behind the design process. So next time you buy something, take your time and appreciate all the details in the box. Moving on, what do you guys like of packaging design?
At least for myself, I mean, I love the way that packaging really can speak into people's everyday lives and really become just bigger than itself.
Great, and why do you think that aspect is important?
I think it's important just because, I mean, when you take the time to design something, I think, making sure you're designing something with meaning just becomes really important. And I think packaging, like, that experience you have with it, I think it has a way to becoming like part of a memory. And maybe it's something that could even be passed down through generations. Like packaging, I think it just can really take a life of its own. Like people, they buy a package, they really love it, they end up keeping it or displaying it. Some might even repurpose it, and give it essentially a new life or new purpose. And it just kind of really holds a memory that can be shared. So I think it's just really kind of a great aspect to packaging. It has a way of being just bigger than a box or bigger than itself.
Yeah, totally. I think that my favorite part about packaging is similar in that we have a challenge to communicate an idea or a message. And a lot of the times it is on really small real estate. But while minimal packaging is kind of a trend right now, I think that conceptual thinking that goes into complex branding, kind of what Jesse's talking about, where it really is more than just the product itself, but we have the ability to push the parameters of product design. We don't really, as graphic designers, we don't normally get to determine the material or like what the actual silhouette is of the product. But even if it's just a box, I think we have so much opportunity to change packaging just through illustration, typography, composition, and each piece becomes a part of the story, whether it's tissue paper or the price tag or just the plastic lid. When I was designing my spirit packaging for Chilean Pisco, I think like the small details for me, even if it was just the ripped label, it elevated such a simple, basic silhouette of a bottle, and it helped push that fantasy of an old and aged product. And I think like I find joy in the small details of mundane packaging, like just the bottleneck tag, like things like that are what consumers will often take for granted, but it just adds to all the drama and narrative of the product.
Yeah, Justin, I really loved how you say that packaging holds a memory for some people. Like, I think it's so amazing, crazy how much little details on a package can play such a huge influence on a consumer and what they want to buy. Like Amanda said, the small details like a ripped label of her package can play such a huge role. And for example, when you're buying an Apple product, an incentive for some customers is because they want the box and just to feel it in their hands and just to unpackage it and see how it was designed. It's just crazy how much emotion can be connected with the packaging and the design. And we really put in a lot of thought with packaging. So I think it's so amazing to see people kind of witness that and buy things off of the design.
For sure. I mean, definitely, I mean, at least for myself, I keep all my Apple boxes, phone, iPad, all of it. Even if I don't have the product still, is where I still keep all the packages.
What I value in packaging design is the beauty of choice from the designer. The designer can choose, of course, within its budget limits and or client requirements, the way it can look, whether you design it very minimally or you go all out. Packaging design is one of the graphic design pathways where it can become very creative and unique with just using a simple box or a bag. As the design world grows, the packaging ideas get even more creative and you see new things being invented on the shelves. I think this aspect is important because customers also get tired of seeing the same type of packaging, and what brings their attention to buy certain products is how the packaging is being displayed and designed. There's two types of packaging sold on the shelves at the stores. There's the top tier and mid tier. The beauty of packaging design is that sometimes some mid tier packaging can look more expensive than the top tier packaging and vice versa. Packaging design is unique in its own way and works wonders to catch customers' eyes.
Yeah, I totally agree with you all. Like, I'm still keeping all the product after the packaging after I buy the product and use it. I still have like stack them up and this is for my thing. And I also find it really fun and exciting from the start of brainstorming the concept to the executing part of designing a package. It also helped me to apply my DIY hobby into the project where I get to customize the package from the DACA template. I'll just create something new with all details that I want to put everything in.
That's a great answer. Some designers view or put emphasis on designer top tier products, but what about everyday products such as toilet paper? What are your thoughts about that perception?
I think honestly, like, kind of speaking back to Jocelyn's point about like those design choices, like especially in terms of like mid-tier versus top tier. Like the top tier, you know, it might be really, really fun, especially if you have the budget. You know, you can really push it and really sell this very unique narrative. However, I think definitely something that we have to keep in mind is the fact that most top tier products, not everyone is going to be able to, afford the $1,000 bottle. So in a way, like you're speaking to like a limited audience, which, can be really great. It's very specific, but I think sometimes when you go for the mid-tier, you end up speaking to a wider mass audience, and you're really trying to speak into multiple different people's lives through your package. So the design, sure, it might become more, I guess, generic just because you are trying to reach so many different people. But I think it's kind of special to be able to really reach into multiple people's lives. And like, once again, I think just because, the design might look generic, I think it doesn't mean it has to be boring. I think definitely, like, at least for myself, I'm a designer and a consumer. And it's like, if I'm going to be out, buying paper towels, why not make it fun? Why not kind of sell some kind of idea that you can kind of relate to or have fun with? So, like, for example, for the HEB product or design, I did a paper towel design. And for that high tier, I just really wanted to sell this idea that it can conquer, any mess. It could be jungle sized, and like to have something, huge after like a major party, or even something small, like, I don't know, so like maybe dropping some ice cream, like on the ground. So it's just really trying to play into a wide narrative that everyone can relate to and still have fun.
Oh, the beauty of packaging. I still like also collect all the all the boxes for like almost everything I buy. I have my closet full of boxes. I've seen that my phone boxes have gotten smaller over the years. I think that with tech giants such as Apple and Amazon moving into a more sustainable solution to packaging, eco-friendly packaging has become a new trend. Is that something that you guys prioritize during your design process?
Yeah, I think personally, I'm interested in environmental justice and integrating sustainable practices just in like my everyday life. And so I would hope that it is something that I consider when I'm designing. I think about how much product is wasted when we print like preliminary comps. And also, although we don't have much control over it, it is something that's a huge problem for landfill waste too. And as graphic designers, like I said before, maybe we don't have as much input in product design, but I still think that we can have a voice and, make sure our design and marketing still reflects those ideals. There's a lot of issues with greenwashing and false marketing that misinforms consumers. And that's a huge part of design, is like we can make sure it's communicating ethical ideals while also being easy to consume. And many might not feel comfortable speaking up for that topic, but I think if that brand or company is welcoming, I would definitely stand up and advocate for more sustainable ideas.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I agree with Amanda. Like, though, yeah, as designers, it's true. We don't really have much of a say in the product itself or how it's designed or what materials are used. But I think definitely for graphic designers, in terms of the packaging, we can at least speak somewhat into that discussion. And I think it actually gives a great opportunity for packaging to become maybe even more meaningful, where we're able to create a package that, maybe it's something that is long lasting, right? Or something that right, it can be reused and have that second life for itself. To maybe even something where that is, biodegradable, something that's more beneficial to the world around us. And it creates this really special moment of kind of giving back in some way. I think the sustainability trend actually kind of gives more of an opportunity to create those special moments, for sure.
Yeah, I
Right,
think
yeah.
like, oh, sorry.
Okay.
I think like when a lot of brands are now starting to incorporate that as part of their branding, where their package or whatever they choose as their delivery, they advertise that as a sustainable method. Like they say you can reuse it for XYZ. And I think that's a great way to start incorporating sustainable ideals, is like, it's not just the product or the way that they package it, but it's like their whole brand that they're like, we're encouraging you guys to also reuse what we give you.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, hopefully this is a trend that we see growing in the following years because we want to keep Mother Earth happy. And talking a lot about like work makes me think of sometimes when I'm working on a project and I get to that point when I'm like, okay, I can't go any further, and I think of like taking breaks. So I work for 5 minutes and then I take a break for like 20 minutes. And I think of this creative plateau that we get sometimes. What are some of the things that you guys do to get out of it?
Yeah, so for me personally, I encounter creative plateaus when I'm feeling overwhelmed. So I often get like these new project jitters where I feel this need to start designing right away, but I have to remind myself to take a step back and kind of sort out my thoughts before doing anything else. So there's like 5 things that I try to do to avoid getting a creative block during the design process. So first, the first thing would be like understanding the project. So making sure I understand what the brief is asking of me and setting these goals that I want to reach. And then the second one being translating what I see in my head onto paper. So for me personally, I like to jot down ideas, making lists and sketching out my ideas, and then doing research. So whether that's like online or going to a physical store, it normally helps inspire like new ideas, or it also supplements the ideas that I've already come up with. And then I like being in like a quiet environment with no distractions. And sometimes I even like going outside to think about what I've come up with so far. So something I kind of struggle with is getting lost in my own thoughts and trying to think. I'm trying to think less and do more so I can get that progress that I need. So I believe that like these 5 steps have helped me create like a good foundation for my projects, and it also gives me the confidence to pursue like the direction that I've decided to go with. Yeah, as designers with deadlines all the time, I feel like everyone goes through a panic and hits a creative plateau. Personally, I feel like creativity shouldn't be rushed. Maybe for others, they work and think harder when under pressure. But for me, I definitely think that having a break and stepping away from your computer and just looking at your surroundings can bring a lot of sudden and innovative ideas. Like, it's always the most random moments when something clicks in your head.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like, just one more thing. I just want to say, like, everyone has their own way to design. Like, they have their own way to their own design process. So I think it's important for all designers to kind of know like what works best for them.
Great
And
answers.
sticking to it for sure.
Oh, definitely. I agree with all your answers. So yeah, that was an amazing discussion, guys. Before we move on onto the next one, do you guys have any last thoughts?
No, it's great having us. Thank you.
Okay then. It was great having you today, guys. We will now go to our audience to see if there's any questions into the Q&A section. So again, thank you so much for being here today.
To see what they have to say, go to the chat down below to add any questions or comments. I'm not going to answer them all by myself. I actually have company with me right now. Well, kinda. I have the participants from the packaging discussion with me. Hello, where are you guys at? You guys could turn on your cameras. Hello, Amanda. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing great. Thank you for asking. Oh, hey, Jocelyn.
Both Amandas.
There we go. They're coming in pairs. Hey, Amanda. Jesse. Perfect. All right. We're missing a few. We'll just let them come in at their own pace. But let's get these questions started. They're going off on the chat, these comments. I'm loving all the positivity. I love that. All right. I have a great question from Jonah Coloma. What about accessibility practice? Any thoughts? Accessibility for people with special needs, a customer with visual impairment, for example. What are your thoughts about that?
I think that's super important to learn. Oh, go ahead, Jocelyn. Go ahead.
No, you could go.
Okay. I think that's a really important question because that's not always taught in class. I think blatantly, like we learn a lot about Swiss grid and like all the important design principles, but when it comes to accessibility, I think that's something that's really common now too to be concerned about, because everyone should matter, whether it's like art or something practical. And so whether it's like making sure the color is visible for people who are colorblind, or size or whatnot. Like when I worked on campus for the sustainability office, and that's something that we always had to take into account, was making sure that all of the printables that were going out or any of the social media graphics were able to be read and consumed by everyone. Like it's not just for the people who are able, but anyone we can reach, you know.
I feel that, yeah. Jocelyn, you wanted to say something about that as well?
I was gonna say, I agree with Amanda. I think it's important that we take into consideration, like everyone, not just, I guess, us. You know, like our characteristics, but it's important to view in different perspectives, and that's what makes the world. You know, the world is different, and that's why graphic designers, we have to see it in different perspectives, different visions, and I think we try to help as many people as we can. And I just hope that we as new designers, we get to accomplish that for the, you know, everyone else in the world.
Absolutely. And I'm sure you all will do that. You guys are full of great ideas, and you are capable of doing so much to help a lot of people. Look at these comments. They're so great. Oh, Amanda, yes. Well done. These are all great. It's great to have these intentions going into our graphic design career. Hold on to these with wise each of you have. Thank you, Sky Blue Jimmy. Maribel, wait, is Maribel here? Somebody wants to hire her for design. All right, let's go to more questions. Oh, I have a perfect question from Eric Pack. What current design trends have you noticed in 2020, and what do you feel about them?
Okay, I can take it. I think one of the trends that I've been seeing is it's like a retro look almost, like people are going back to reference 90s design. And I think it's interesting to see how people are reinventing it, and then like kind of paying homage to like for us, it's really new because we didn't grow up in that design era, but like I'm sure for a lot of other designers, they're like, I literally have work that looks exactly like that. Like, I think it's so interesting that, like especially like old technology ads, like old Apple advertisements and stuff. I feel like people are kind of imitating like the composition, or like bringing back the scan textures and like halftone, and like I think it's really cool to see that, you know, trends really never die. They always come back. They just kind of become something new to combine it with what we're doing today.
They like become recycled, repurposed, all
Right,
that.
right.
I know you know something about that too.
We got to be sustainable with our designs.
Yes, I heard you in your discussion. All right, let's go ahead and see the comments. There we go. I have a question. Do you think the American packaging is different to the European? Now, this is from Bennett. I know some of you guys have gone to other countries. Is that correct? Yes. Any of you guys gone to European countries? No, not yet.
Leilani, what did you think about it when we were in Germany? Did you notice any like?
I felt like there was maybe more. I think I saw less illustrative packaging. I think, well, something I think that's like also a trend right now that I see is very like bold, colorful, like lots of fun, like illustrations and just like having a lot of fun. But I feel like when I would go to the grocery stores in Germany, I didn't really see that much. But
I feel you. All right. I have another question from Miles Hawkins. How do you balance trying to create something that is an instant classic while also trying to keep a new, fresh feel? Have you guys ever come into a project idea where you had to do something similar in that aspect?
I don't have like a specific project in mind, but I do feel like as designers, one direction that we can go in for designing is like innovating within tradition. So I think a lot of times people can be drawn to packaging because it does remind them of something like from their childhood. So it has as in essence of something that they've seen before, but at the same time they add like a new traditional or a new like modern twist to it. So I think that's like a good way to gain attention from maybe more a younger audience while also gaining attention from an older audience as well.
I feel that. People could like look back at that design and remember that. I feel that. There's a specific word for that. I'm trying to recollect my thoughts. Not throwback. It's a more appropriate word.
Nostalgia.
There we go. Nostalgia. It was at the tip of my tongue. I have a question from Katie Sereno. How do you push through creative block and comparison?
In comparison to like creative plateau?
Well, I guess just comparing it to other projects or other designs.
I think with trying not to compare yourself, you have to understand that you have your own style and someone else has their own style and everyone's at their own levels. So you really shouldn't like be like, oh, why am I not like this person or why can't I do it like this? You should really just focus on where you're at as a designer and think about how you can improve yourself instead of like, how can I be more like someone else? Like how you can work on yourself and see where you're at and be proud of that.
I feel.
That was profound.
You always have to stand proud of your designs. They're little babies.
I feel like it makes you appreciate like everyone more instead of comparing yourself because there's always going to be someone who's better or has something different than you. And I think that just makes me like appreciate other designers rather than like put myself down for not being able to do that. Cause I'm like, wow, they're really good and really talented. And like, I want to inspire and like be that good on my own, you know, like I want to be to that level. Just, I don't want to be them because they're good because they're their own person.
There we go. Amanda, I want that attitude for 2021.
We're just having a therapy session right now.
I think for me too, I just struggled with like, what is my style? Like the whole time throughout college, I was like, I don't have a style. But once I started putting my portfolio together, I was like, I guess it's pretty obvious like what it is. And I think if you don't try to copy what other people are doing and just, you know, allow your own original thoughts to take over, then, you know, you create something that's very unique to yourself.
Yeah.
Adding to that, also, like, everyone's different, so I feel like you just take inspiration from everybody, and it just creates yourself, you know, like, there's always going to be someone better, but you just grab inspiration from, like, you know, little by little from everyone, and it creates something new. You're not copying or you're not trying to be like somebody. You're just going to be yourself.
Yeah, everything around you sort of helps create the person that you are and that reflects on your projects and your style. I agree. I have one question. This will be the last question for the discussion. What's your experience of working professionally or seeking to join a design team during COVID? How are you able to gel with them?
Can you repeat the question one more time?
Yeah. What's your experience of working professionally or seeking to join a design team during COVID? How are you able to gel with them? I guess, like, how do you connect with them? How do you connect with your design team, especially during COVID? I mean, I feel like we all were trying to connect during COVID. Oh, hey, Jesse.
I know,
We were
last
all
second.
fashionably late.
Yes.
I was gonna say that how was it seeking to join a design team during COVID? I know you were in a. I want to give this to Jesse or anybody's open to answer actually, but I remember you said you were in an internship. How was that during COVID?
It was, I mean, it was definitely interesting. I think, frankly, the company did a really great job at trying to make us stay connected. Like through Zoom calls, we'd actually play games, like have kind of a company hangout time. It was very interesting. We did like a Pictionary like through Zoom.
That's so cool.
So that made it really fun. But I think, to be honest, like it was just like the emailing and then those Zoom calls, like really just trying to stay in constant communication. I think it helped a lot. Just kind of like letting them know, like even if it's like a status update, just like this is where I am, and just having some kind of a camaraderie. It really helped.
I agree. Do we have one more? Do we have time for one more question? Yeah. All right. So I have another question, and it's from Eric Pack. He says, "Hi, another question. How have you guys been affected, especially by the keyword in your creative design work?" I'm assuming that's like plateau, creative plateau.
Maybe it's the pandemic.
Oh, okay. Yes. Pandemic.
Oh my gosh. It's so funny, this question. So I've been mentioning a lot actually to, I'm a Pilates instructor. So literally like the members at my club, I share with them that it's like, yeah, this whole pandemic thing, it's really, I meet like a lot of teachers that are members. So I get like the teacher's side as well as our side, just being in it. And it's like, it's affected everybody, like hardcore, like honor students, you know, it's a hard time. But at least for myself, I feel like it was just having like my work world and my home worlds be one world was kind of challenging to adjust to. Like I was so used to being able to leave home, all the distractions are at home and I don't have to worry about any of that. But now it's like all my distractions are here. So just trying to find a space where it's like, okay, this is my working space and it's like away from all the distractions.
Yes, definitely a safe place to be creative, and I'm sure by this time we all like found a spot where we could get creative and focus on our design careers and all that.
Yeah, I think
Awesome.
that.
Well,
Oh, sorry.
no, go ahead. I'm hearing.
I think that like for me, the pandemic has kind of affected my design work in a positive way because I feel like normally I'm always wishing I had more time to work on stuff, and like kind of in a bad way. I feel like I've been overly productive in quarantine because I just have so much time because work and home are like the same thing. But it's almost like helped me push outside my box because I need things that aren't designed to like decompress. So I do a lot of like, or not a lot, but like I like doing art on the side. So I feel like it almost pushes my creativity in the pandemic because I'm trying to find ways to like keep myself from being bored when I like have nothing to do since we can't go outside and we're not commuting to work. So I feel like it can be for the better. Like you do hit a lot of creative blocks like during this time, but I feel like it can also push you to like try different things and experiment because like this is the one time where we like have all this free time to just figure it out, and like it doesn't have to be for a purpose. It can just like be to make design or make art, which is really cool.
And for yourselves, you know?
Yeah, exactly. For
I
sure.
love that. I love that. It was great talking to all of you guys. We will all see you soon. And if I miss you a little too much, I'll just go to our website, hindsight2020.show, and see all of your amazing works. Great talk, packaging designers.
Thank you.
Bye now.
Thank
Thank you. All right, by now, let me introduce you to our next participants in the branding discussion.
Hey everyone, I'm Jesse Frampton, and I'm not the typical graphic designer. I'm a woodworker, a mechanic, even a painter. A true jack of all trades, and that comes from all my different life experiences. As a graphic designer though, I utilize these experiences to embrace all aspects of design. I like taking my designs off the computer screen and into the real world where they truly live and exist. I'm really into the branding process and figuring out how applications will fit a brand and overcome the challenges of executing them. I don't know what's in store for my future, but I do know that I'll include designing and creating unique things. Thanks.
Hello everyone, my name is Kanale and I love to see people happy. That is why I always try to put a smile on your face when you see my work. My interest in design gravitates towards branding, packaging, and motion design. And when I'm not designing, you can find me playing Super Smash Bros. Or watching anime. I also enjoy traveling and working out. And my dream would be to one day have my own creative agency. So let's work together.
Hi, I'm Angelica Pauline Arias, also known as Angeli Donut. As a graphic designer, my emphasis is on branding and typography, but I also do a little bit of illustration. I love telling stories through design and creating personalities that are both fun and memorable. Creativity is always a part of my life, and when it's not on my laptop, you will find me bullet journaling. So, do you want to create some memorable stories? Let's design together.
Hi, I'm Lauren, and I enjoy making conceptual and narrative-driven projects. I'm interested in branding because I love to research and find creative ways to visually express. I really enjoy trying to encapsulate emotion and storytelling into something tangible, so that means I'm really good at making mood boards and playlists. I'm grateful for where my journey has taken me, and I am excited to see where it will lead me next.
Hi, I'm Sam. I'm a designer and illustrator here in Long Beach. So my work tends to be very bright and bold and pretty colorful, but I also love to balance it out with lots of dark color and dark humor. But I think what bridges my work together is this attraction to playfulness and just adding that touch of fun into my designs.
Hi, I'm Elysium. I'm a graphic designer and illustrator. I like using fun, bright colors and adding a playful and interactive element to my designs. I don't know exactly what I want to do yet, but I know that I would love to explore packaging and branding design for the film or music industry or even for cultural events. It's important to me to include the narrative of the Asian American community and the LGBT community in my work as well. Thank you, everyone. I look forward to working with you in the future.
Hey, I'm Ashley Sharp, and I'm a graphic designer based in Orange County. I'm a natural problem solver and storyteller, so while my education experience has been multidisciplinary, I'd love to work in branding or UX design. I like to think of my design style as adaptable given my wide range of inspirations, which include fashion, fine art, nature, movies, and tech. I'm not sure where my career will take me next, but I'm excited to see what the design industry has to offer.
Hello everyone, my name is Jessica Tan and I enjoy working and designing on a variety of projects like packaging, advertising, and UX UI. In the future, I would like to work for a packaging design agency or a design agency in general. My style is utilizing bold colors and colorful taglines/words to capture people's attention. I'm excited to learn even more, and I hope we can share a passion for designing and collaborate soon. Thank you.
Welcome to the branding discussion. It's great seeing all you together here today. How are we feeling?
Great, yeah.
Doing great.
Pretty
Thanks
good.
for asking.
That's fantastic to hear. Now, for those of you who don't know or just need a friendly reminder, branding in graphic design is creating a name, symbol, or design that helps to distinguish and identify a product from its competing products. Successful branding creates great value for a brand. Branding itself can use multiple secondary elements with the use of a style guide, something you are all familiar with, I'm sure. Now, let's begin. I have prepared several questions for you to answer. How does that sound?
Great.
Good. Good. All right, perfect. All right. First question. What is the importance of having a strong brand identity? Can someone answer that for me?
Yeah, I'll take that.
Thank you.
So I think it's super important. A strong brand identity, it helps the brand stand out. It helps it stand out from the competitors. It helps show off what the product is. A bad brand identity could misclassify or confuse consumers, of what they're buying, or think that they're buying a competitor when they're actually buying you, or vice versa. So, it's always something that you want. You always want that brand identity to be very strong, unique, and bold, so that it helps the product stand out where it needs to. An example that I keep thinking of is Coca-Cola, and that everybody knows Coca-Cola Red. It's a piece of the brand that alone can represent the brand as a whole, and you can see a Coca-Cola Red item and know that it's Coca-Cola without actually knowing it's Coca-Cola.
Yeah, another important aspect of having a strong brand identity is that it brings consistency across all marketing materials, so that everything is the same, like from the logo, the typography, the color palette, and the secondary elements. And a very useful tool for this is a brand style guide that specifies where you can use the logo, what kind of backgrounds you can use it, you can use behind the logo. Also, what are the specific colors of the color palette, and the other specifics of the typography and secondary elements, and how to use it overall. And this keeps it consistent in every application that you use.
Okay, that's good. Go ahead.
I took it in an example of it that I've used. I've kind of gone through brand building myself with my own personal company. I make these Bluetooth speakers that the whole thing started as a branding project in school that then evolved into a real company. And so I had to go from the logo to the color palette, and then starting to keep all the collateral, fitting the brand elements and the style that I was going for. And then to kind of keep it on point of, who I'm marketing towards, and, the price point that they think would fit. So, it was kind of a challenging but necessary part of building a brand. Especially because outside of, school project, I didn't really have that much, experience in like real world doing it. So all the design decisions that I made had real world impacts, from, money to confusion to everything. So whatever I did always impacted
me and my bottom line as well as everything. So in that sense, it was really important to have a strong brand identity.
Yeah, perfect. I have another question. How important is it for a brand to be conceptual and have a strong narrative?
Personally, I really value when projects have strong narratives, but ultimately I think it boils down to balance, and honestly finding that is easier said than done. But I kind of see narratives as a way to tell a story that can help engage or connect to an audience, which is only going to strengthen the value of whatever you're trying to promote. I think the most important part of every project should have intention, and whether that intention is to push an aesthetic or a lifestyle, do it with purpose. And so I think another thing too is know your demographic and then know what they care about.
I just want to add that I believe having a strong narrative is essential to creating a good brand. I personally put a lot of effort into the conceptualizing phase of all my projects because I feel that it makes them more meaningful. The storytelling aspect is what gives a brand the ability to evoke emotion in its customers, and it gives it a more human feel. It's also what makes the difference between a project that's just made to look pretty and one that's made with a purpose.
Okay. Well, that's great. I could definitely relate to that. I have another question. During the brainstorming process, do you prefer to work collaboratively or on your own? Can someone answer that for me?
I think I'll take that question. When it comes to branding, I like to work collaboratively overall because I feel that sometimes you can achieve more when you work in a group than when you work on your own. And especially when you work with a great team. You know what they say, two heads are better than one. And for instance, this semester we worked on a branding project and we had to come up with a company that had a humanitarian approach. And during our first brainstorming session, we all came up with very interesting ideas and directions. And I think that having the opportunity to see all those options from the get-go helps you like choose and keeps you like to see and go beyond your mindset. And so we came up with hybrid learning program for social skills. And I guess this project might sound familiar for some of you, right, Lauren?
Of course, how could I forget?
And another cool aspect of working collaboratively is that you can delegate responsibility. And for instance, Amanda and Leilani, which are part of the group too, worked on the marketing side of the project, and they came up with a social media and campaign strategy, while Lauren worked on the brick and mortar. And Edgar and I said Edgar worked on the website and the app, and we were able to accomplish more by working cooperatively.
It was so much fun, and I feel like we were all in different groups, and I feel like we all learned from each other and grew as designers in the whole process.
Yeah, it's a great project.
Mm-hmm. I have another question. Designers often use Pinterest or Behance as references. Do you think it's unethical to pull inspiration from other people's ideas or designs and to build off of this? Can someone answer that for me?
Yeah, I can take that one.
Thank you, Elise.
Yeah, so I think the only unethical part about doing that would to be if you were to take an entire concept plus the visuals of that and just use it as is without changing it or building your own ideas off of it, because that's just straight up plagiarism. But I think pulling references from places like Pinterest and Behance is good because you can use it to again build your own ideas off of, learn things you never would have thought of before. And I think if you use it properly and with good intentions, it can really just improve your work. And I just really think it makes you a better artist or designer to expose yourself to a bunch of different type of work.
Totally, I agree. I think especially within our field, most things are derivative. So as a creative, the most important thing you can do is put your own spin on it and do something that's unique to your perspective. So that's basically what our job is as a creative.
Yeah, and I think kind of to piggyback off both of those, a book that I read early on in design school was called Steal Like an Artist. And it kind of teaches you how to walk the fine line of being inspired and blatantly stealing. And I think that's kind of important to learn how to be inspired from other designs and even like look deeper and like figure out, I really like this element from this design. And, I can use it in this application in a different way and, think deeper about how and why you liked it. And I also think Pinterest and things like that can be another good tool. If you're working with a client who doesn't speak the design language the same as you, to try to get on the same page by showing examples of previous outcomes of, what they're looking for, and then, funnel into that direction that you're both trying to accomplish, and then moving along with your own design.
I agree. I have one last question. How would you describe your brand as a designer?
I can take that question.
Oh, thank you.
So as a designer, I would describe my brand as fun and memorable. And I think that shows with my own personal brand to be known as Jelly Donut. I've always enjoyed creating designs that are unique and have a personality of their own. So being Jelly Donut for me, it all started just because I wanted to create a pun out of my name for an Instagram handle. But over the years, it's kind of grown to become my own branding because the name was so memorable and unique. So that significantly reflects my style that brings like a sense of joy and portrays my own personality as a designer.
Yeah, I love your branding, Angelica. I think it matches you perfectly, and I think it's important to have your work relate to you in some way.
By the way, don't stop sending us those questions and comments on that chat. Each comment and question helps you interact with us. I also brought some friends with me tonight. Can I get a table for 8? It's the branding discussion participants. Where are they at?
I'm one of them.
Oh, there you go. I have one right now. There we go. I see Angelica. Perfect. How are you? I see Jesse, Elise, Ashley.
Nice.
How are we doing today? Hello, Ashley.
Good.
Do you guys want to answer some questions? I have a lot of them right now.
Let's do it.
All right.
Yeah, sounds good.
Do it.
Perfect. All right. This goes out for branding from Forrest Huta. In your view, how do you think the influence of graphic design has a positive or negative impact on society? The influence on graphic design has a positive or negative impact on society? That's a good question. Really great question.
I can't think of any way it's like somehow detrimental to society. But I think like even in the last few months alone, design has made such a huge like positive impact through like social media. Like design is meant to communicate information easily, and I think because of that, people like learn how to register to vote or like where to donate, or like just how to help a cause. So I think the positive impact is that design is meant to be accessible for everyone, and it's meant to be shared. So I think in that way, it's definitely a positive tool.
Yeah, totally.
I agree with. Go ahead, Lauren.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say that I totally agree with Sam, and just as I said on the packaging discussion, that graphic design overall helps the world to get the world a little bit more organized and it just gives you direction in so many ways. So I think there's no way that it can be negative. It's different. The start to the end.
There's more pros and cons. Go ahead, Lauren.
I was just going to say that it's kind of like our job and it's our way of communicating. We're kind of like that buffer for like cultural events or information that like with all the political stuff going on, it's just like a way for us to be that bridge. And so like what Sam and Hanar are saying is it's really a powerful tool for us to be able to leverage that and then make it interesting to look at, but also have a message behind it. So definitely it's a positive thing.
That's true. We're definitely like the messengers.
Yeah,
Visually,
exactly.
all the typography, all that. Let's see here. I have some questions on Big Marker. And let's see, let me open that up. Guest 235 asked, who have been your biggest inspirations for your work? Somebody want to answer that?
I want to say that to me, for instance, like the biggest designers such as Zach Meister or Hollister are having like big influence my work. And most recently, maybe I would say Jessica Wash. I really admire her and her work, and I think that it's this aspect of being bold and very, very colorful that really draws my attention. I think that I identify myself with that style.
Okay. I like that. Have another question as well from guest 835 on Big Marker. How do you balance trying to create something that is instant classic while also trying to keep a new fresh feel? Somebody want to answer that?
I'll jump in on that.
Okay. The floor is yours.
I think on that, I think it kind of just depends on what the client wants. Like, you know, because like the instant classic, yeah, the instant gratification from that is pretty cool, but also like kind of like a timeless piece, you know, more of like a minimal design can be beneficial as well. So it just, you know, if we're talking about like a dog grooming brand, an instant classic is going to help them in the short term and probably the life. But if we're talking rebranding or, you know, coming up with like a new energy drink that they want to last forever, you know, they want to go 20, 30, 40 years. I think, you know, factoring in that we don't need the trendy designs and the trendy stuff. You know, we need something that's going to be bigger and has, you know, a longer life to the design.
I agree. Jenny Howe, I'll have another question. This is from Jenny Howe. How would you communicate your ideas to a client or partner who doesn't share the same perspective as you on an approach? I feel like you touched on that, right, Jesse?
Yeah, I mean, that kind of goes back to my Pinterest discussion that, you know, it essentially, like in my previous experience, it was like building like a new visual portfolio essentially that we can then communicate with. You know, trying to figure out them and what, you know, being able to pull out of them what they're trying to communicate to you. You know, because as designers, we kind of speak a different visual language. And so it's like for me to communicate to you guys, you know, we can quickly get through a problem. But when somebody doesn't speak that language, you know, it's a matter of, you know, figuring out what works best between all of you. So that's why, you know, I was saying the Pinterest, like being able to put together a mood board of like, you know, oh, these are the things that you like of this, you know, thing, and this is why you like it. Now we can move further with those designs.
Yeah, I feel like it's a partnership, like a pull and take, making sure everybody's on the right path of the design overall. I agree. I have another question. This one's from Chad Weiss. In your introductions, each of you spoke about your personal style. How does your style adapt to the brand you're designing for? when you are designing for a client? What leads?
Personally, is it okay if I take this question? Or go ahead, Hinar. Did you want to answer the question, Hinar? It's okay. Okay. So I was just going to say, personally, I think that's a tricky balance. You want to listen to what they want, but you also try to put in some of your own design sense and your own aesthetic. I think sometimes it works out with your own aesthetic because maybe they're hiring you for a specific reason because they like your style and your ideas. So that works out really well. But then you also got to think about sometimes what they want over you. So I think it's just a case by case sometimes. I always like to push a little bit more for what I like aesthetically, but if it doesn't work out with them, that's okay too.
I feel you. That you did bring up a great point that they will hire you for your specific style. You don't necessarily have to adapt, but they're hiring you for yourself to be yourself. You know, could be tricky sometimes, but yeah, creative freedom. I have a question from San Diego City College Graphic Design. What do you see as the impact of so many brands now creating custom proprietary typefaces for their brand?
I'll jump in.
Question. Oh,
yeah,
go right ahead.
So it was, say it again, what's the problem with so many?
What do you see as the impact of so many brands now creating custom proprietary typefaces for their brand? Like custom typefaces for each brand.
Proprietary.
The impact of that.
That's the word. So I see positives and negatives. So the positives would be that now we have a bunch of new typefaces, you know, but the downside is it's expensive. It's a lot of work. And, you know, it's like essentially they're making the typeface, from what I'm kind of gathering from, is they're making the typeface just for the logo. So they're not going in and doing all the kerning of every letter and making it so that it's a workable type everywhere. They're making it so that it fits, you know, the word or, you know, the small use that they did. So like then there's kind of going to be junk versions of that end up on font, things like that, where people just copy the letters, throw them in, don't deal with any of the other stuff that makes it a workable type. And then there's always going to be knockoffs. So it's like I see it as a positive and a negative. Like, you know, it's cool and it's dope, and you know, custom fonts for logos are definitely the way to go. But then having all this extra bad stuff kind of is not the fun result.
I agree. Yeah, it's kind of like having all these emails, but you know, junk mail and all that. I feel you.
Yeah.
I have a question from David. This will be the last question for this discussion panel. How can branding improve a business?
I can take that one.
Okay.
Nope.
Go, Lauren.
I've talked enough. Go ahead, Hinar. Go ahead.
We need one of those red buttons, I'm going out.
Jeopardy.
Yeah. So let's share the response.
Sure. Yeah.
So I think that it can impact a business in different levels, because if you have good branding, it's gonna make you look better, which is gonna increase your sales. It's gonna give you personality. It's gonna give you a different image. So it's gonna put you on a different level than the rest of the business. So just as easy as having a good branding, it's gonna separate you from the rest.
True.
And then let's go to Lauren.
Go ahead, Lauren.
I was just going to say, I think brand identity or branding is important to a business because of it's kind of like the root of that. It's the identity of whatever you're trying to promote. It's you're kind of your backbone to whatever your business is. And so if you can create something that's strong like that, like having a strong brand identity, I think it just trickles down into so many different aspects of your business that it's just really important to have its core values and stuff like that.
I agree.
I think also like with that, it's like, you know, the brand identity is like the clothing we wear. You know, like if you showed up to a business meeting wearing, you know, a Hawaiian shirt, shorts, and flip flops, you know, that's
Gotcha.
not going to cut it. And it's, you know, it's the same thing with your brand identity. If you dress the brand wrong, you know, it immediately just doesn't matter how good the brand is, you know, internally, you kind of ruin it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's presentation.
There you go. Presentation is key. First impression.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. You're all amazing, and I wish I can just hug all of you, but virtual hug. Virtual hug. You're all so talented creatives, and I hope to see you all soon. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. I don't know about you, but I need a coffee break, and I'm sure you're all thinking the same thing, weren't you, Hanar?
Actually, I just poured myself a glass of wine when I was away.
No wonder that explains the wine in the corner of the room, the empty bottle.
Empty bottle? There was only one glass.
Sure. Well, speaking of treating yourself, I have something to share with all of you, but I'll let my co-host take it away.
Okay, so we have an announcement to make. We will be sharing a link to a Google form that if you fill out, you'll have access to all cool merch. We'll be sending a thank you package to everyone who signs up. And we're gonna go on a 10-minute intermission right now. So we're gonna be back in 10 minutes, which is gonna be 3:40. So we're gonna be here waiting for you. And hey, Edgar, put my wine down. I thought you wanted coffee. Get away from it.
Oh. I know, I know. You always get like distracted easily, like with the body yada 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 thing. Okay, stop it. Now that I got the audience's attention and my co-hosts, of course, let's get back to the show.
Absolutely, yes. Which roundtable discussion is next?
I believe it's motion design.
Oh, okay, I'm excited.
So now let me introduce you to the motion design participants.
Awesome.
Let's go.
Hi, my name is Jason Fang, and I'm a motion designer who loves design and animation while having a strong interest in innovative technology. I envision myself working on projects that involves kinetic branding, title sequence design, motion design for user experience, and things that improves people's quality of life through technology. I love overcoming new challenges, and I'll always be learning to expand my horizon. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Yuji Shiraiwa. I'm a designer currently based in Portland, Oregon. My field of interest is in UI UX, motion design, and augmented reality. As a designer, I aim to design and create simple yet visually striking pieces that users could easily understand and interact with. I envision myself to continue learning new skills and subjects that can help me grow my career and broaden my perspective to see and discover new things in the world. Thank you.
Hi there, what's up? I'm Maggie, and I'm a visual designer that focuses on experimental 2D, 3D, and motion graphics. I enjoy creating functional and purposeful digital content that captures the senses or has a humanitarian focus. My style is curated towards innovative and unconventional design that are greatly influenced by David Carson, nature, philosophy, music, and my intuition. And I look forward to where this all takes me. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Edgar Troncoso. I love to incorporate my illustration skills and my keen eye for details into all aspects of graphic design. I love incorporating my culture and the use of saturated colors and textures in my designs. I strive to be a well-rounded designer who can flex the necessary skills and knowledge earned throughout my experience in UX UI, motion design, packaging, and marketing. Always being open to experiment with fresh ideas could hallmark my approach to the overall design process. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Annie Sacombe, and as a graphic designer I enjoy packaging projects, motion graphics, apparel design, as well as UX UI. As a creative, I thrive when I have the most creative freedom to visually communicate my ideas. I also appreciate design in aspects of beauty, fashion, gaming, and animation. I would love to expand my experience as a designer and grow as an artist, so check out my website or LinkedIn to collaborate. Thank you.
Welcome back, everyone. Say hi to the motion design team.
Hi.
Say hi, guys.
Hey, hi.
Hello.
Hi, how are you guys doing today?
Great. How are you?
Great.
Good, good. Thanks for asking. Glad to hear you guys are doing great. So let's get started. So motion design is a fairly new field in the industry, and it's gaining a lot of popularity because of the great increase in the digital media. So why do you guys like motion design?
Yeah, I could take that. Um, when I first got into motion, it was from a motion design course at our school. Before that, I really wanted to be a web designer because I'm more interested in digital designs, but I've never heard of motion design. But when I first got into it, I kind of have a love and hate relationship with it because it was very challenging to do motion design projects. You have to learn all the After Effects technical difficulties and all these technical skills from keyframing to animation curves and all that. And also there's also conceptual thinking behind it with storyboarding. You have to kind of connect all the board together to make a really nice storytelling piece. It was very challenging. So I absolutely hated it when I first started motion design, but after I got out of the course, I have the experience to do more motion projects, and I started developing some more love about it because I feel more confident about my skills, and the project just turns out better after you have a little bit more experience. So So definitely what I like about motion design is that you could figure out a lot of technical difficulties on each project because you have different ones for each project that you just kind of like a little puzzle you have to figure out every time. And then when you finally figure it out, it's the most fulfilling experience. Um, yeah.
Yeah,
And then,
I personally, I'm sorry, go ahead.
wait, what were you gonna say? Say it.
No, I was gonna say that I personally also like motion, and I like the way that brands can kind of like portray their branding in a different way than a static image. Because it's more, you can animate it and create so many stories and like not portray, like present your brand in a different way. I
Yeah,
heard that
exactly.
Yuji, go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna add to what you just said. It's like motion design definitely provided more opportunities for designers to show and tell in a more diverse ways.
Yeah, I've heard that Yuji and you have collaborated on a couple of projects. Can you tell me a little bit more of that?
Yeah, I really enjoyed collaborating on a motion design piece with Yuji. We were working on a um, motion design piece involves like live action. So we went to a bridge in the LA area, I forgot where, and then it was a really nice place to shoot. And Yuji and I kind of partnered up to do this project. He did the most of compositing work, and then I did most of the animation work. I think working together on a motion piece definitely give you a quick and easier and more enjoyable ways to learn about motion, because you have other person to kind of be in charge of that areas of the project, and I'm in charge of this area. And then when we come together, we learn from each other. And I think when it comes to a bigger motion design piece, it's the best that you could collaborate with someone else.
Yeah, when I saw your work, I thought it was really great, and I love the way you guys created this like whimsical, almost like magical video, and it's a really cute video and cute story, and it's animated like amazingly. So tell me, Yuji, are there any designers or a filmmaker that inspire you or influence you to create this animation?
Yeah, so the project Jason and I worked on, we named it React. This, so maybe like that project was inspired by a filmmaker called Tao Taizima. He's a Japanese filmmaker and also I think an art director. One of his work, like when I was starting this project, kind of inspired me and motivated me to work on this. And for people who's watching this that is like doesn't know what kind of motion project it was, it's like this project we worked on was a visual reaction of music, light, and environment combined together. So like Jason said, like this like collaboration definitely like I learned a lot from it also, like not only like the compositioning of like the visual element into the environment, but also like looking into his animation also like helped me learn too. And I think I totally agree with him. Like this is something like what I love about motion design, collaborating people, like making like your imagination become reality. It's something definitely like you could also do in motion design.
Yeah, I also talked about like working collaboratively on the previous discussion, and I think you can achieve more when you work with other people, and especially when you're in like great team. Also, I want to mention something. Yuji and Jason are the masterminds behind our reel. So if you guys liked it, please share it and like it again and watch it because it's really great. So moving on, when you guys use plugins and templates on your motion projects, how do you keep it fresh? How do you make it original or innovative?
Can I answer that question?
Of course.
Well, I understand that we're in an industry where designs are fast moving, and in order to get things out as soon as possible, but I feel like it makes it generic in a sense. I definitely wouldn't be opposed personally to use plugins and templates as it's a useful tool, but right now I'm invested in the creative process and journey of a project since I draw inspiration from many channels of work related to art and let that inspire me to influence my direction. I don't like to copy and paste designs because it gives me a sense of originality and a hands-on approach if I just use references, to be honest with you. I typically create mood boards and storyboards depending on which type of project I use motion graphics for. I've done projects using kinetic typography to tell a story by using like pop culture references, like specifically like rap music and comedic storytelling. I also like applying motion graphics to UI in order to animate and bring life to that. It creates engagement no matter if it's a digital car display for Tesla, a digital solution for an airport directory, and even a home application as well. It makes me feel satisfied knowing that I completed a project exploring a wide range of combination of effects. Like I just feel like I immersed myself even further in the design process. And in hindsight, like I have a better grasp of the software itself.
Should I add at this point?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I think I agree with you that a lot of the reasons that motion designers use templates and plugins, it's because motion design is a very time-consuming task. And then when it comes to advertising or any commoditized projects, it just has a very short time that's assigned to you to finish the project. So plugins is definitely a way to boost your productivities. But yeah, I think whoever uses plugins, if they want to create original art, they could always think of ways to create original work, even though they use plugins.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely agree. When I was speaking about references, I mean like references revolving like pop culture, rap music, artistic styles, things that are outside of motion graphics, like those kinds of references, not references necessarily to motion graphics, as I like exploring other other inspirations, you know, just overall in that aspect.
Okay.
Great. I'm a newbie to motion, but I think that plugins and templates are great tools. So don't take them away from me. I can work with them. Moving forward, do you guys see motion graphics becoming much more innovative?
Yes, I want to answer that one. I definitely see graphic design becoming more innovative because since graphic design is like the main tool for like visual communication, I believe with motion graphics, it's a great way to enhance how designers present their information to their audience.
And please tell me, how do you guys see that happening?
I can add on as well, like, I think that with typical graphic design, we usually have like information displayed on like a static surface where our job as a designer is to guide the viewer through our design with like color, composition, and typography. And with motion graphics, we have all those elements, but we also have the power to control how we present that information to the viewer specifically. And we're able to basically physically move those objects in and out of space. And I feel like that's where we have a lot more power as a designer with motion graphics. And that's, I think, where we can take graphic design to the next level with motion graphics as well. I recently completed like an animated logo that kind of encompasses a lot of what I said, where I presented a lot of like, I have a glimpse of like an old project, and I have like a lot of color and with audio as well, and just compiling all these different aspects that makes the graphic design, but enhancing it with motion. I think that's where a lot of the power lies too.
I agree with you. You mentioned typography, color, and composition, and innovation, and just reminds me about like flyers and how I feel like there are going to be more digital flyers and creating more innovation within that aspect of graphic design. So I completely agree with you, Andy, in that aspect.
Yeah, totally. Definitely motion is the future because now everything is animated, logos, little flyers, like you said, posters, everything that you see on digital media has some sort of animation. Now, before we conclude this, do you have anything else to add?
Yeah, I'd like to add something, kind of going off of what you said, Andy, about how much power you can get behind, creating motion in your design. So, I believe that there's psychology behind motion and motion graphics in general. Psychology is essential because it's a gateway to allowing the viewer to become emotionally connected, and it creates functional design. So in any scenario, triggering or capturing emotion is a powerful tool in communicating whatever your message is. This is often found, everywhere in marketing and advertising, and it helps draw a closer connection and a sense of relation between the viewer and the concept through visuals. Now, is this good or bad that motion affects how people react to what they're consuming? Well, it depends on the context and the designer's intention. This is, great thing about incorporating that in motion is that it becomes alive. Your concept is literally moving, which is awesome. There's a lot of power behind this. And yeah, that can be used wrong in certain ways, but more than anything, it's impactful and it works. You know, if you're trying to get your message across, you can do it. And so in considering how to incorporate psychology and emotion and kind of understanding, you know, your demographics and audience, your call to action, your vibe and energy that, you know, you are trying to portray with your concept. So, you know, considering color choices, the speed of motion, graphics easing in and out, you know, adding music, like you said, all of those things really affect how the viewer is going to consume your information that you're giving them. So bottom line, you know, motion graphics is a user experience. So putting yourself in their shoes will ultimately help in nailing that psychological benefit to motion design.
Was this like
Yeah,
unscheduled?
what? Yeah, I mean, if you want to say something else, like thank you or whatever.
Oh,
No?
thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you for
now
having us.
it
I want
was
to
great
thank.
seeing you all.
It was great talking to all of you guys.
Yes, we hope
Thank
to
you
see
for
you
having
soon. So
us.
now we're gonna move on to the Q&A with our audience to see if they have some more questions for you guys. So get ready.
No. Hello. I hope you enjoyed the discussion as much as I did. Now, let me bring all of the participants back on stage. Here they are. Let me see if I could pull up the motion design students. Hi, Jason. Loud and clear, sir. Let's see if we could have Maggie, Andy. Perfect. Yuji.
Uh,
Oh, you need your audio?
You should stop DJing. Oh my god. I didn't know you could DJ. Oh, oh, yeah.
Oh, I think my audio.
Yeah, you mute your mic.
Hello.
There we go. The party ended quicker than we thought.
Hello.
All right, perfect. Yes.
Okay, just making sure.
Yes, I can hear you. All right, let's go ahead and look at these questions real quick that they're pulling up in the comments. All right, there's one for motion design, and it's from Emily Shin. Looking back, what design areas have you grown in, and what do you still want to work on? A great question. Do any of you guys want to answer that?
Yeah, I can answer that. I think looking back, I learned from school a lot of like the foundational skills, which is really important to get me to learn more advanced stuff in motion design. In terms of software skills, I learned a lot about After Effects, 4D, and what I want to improve in the future is make my animation look smoother and know the reasoning or the logic behind why things move and make the animation looks just smooth as skin.
Your skin.
Yes.
Yeah, in terms of like motion, I feel like I can grow in areas of like in terms of like motion designers I kind of like look up to, like Eva Kremers and like Andy Evans with their motion design and like incorporating 3D aspects into it as well, and just taking it to the next level where like a lot of typical graphic design is 2D, but taking like more 3D elements and then making that even more dimensional in space, and then just enhancing that visual aesthetic as well.
I agree, Andy. It definitely brings a like to life, having all that features in there. All right, let me go ahead and check on the other questions on the comments. All right. How is the process and approach for motion different from other mediums of design? You kind of touched up on that. Let me go to the next one. What resources do you use to teach yourself new motion techniques?
I mean, first resource I thought about is our professor Tanya. Shout out to Tanya.
Tanya,
Yay.
Tanya, we know you're watching.
We love you. And then in terms of online resources, the ones I always go to is YouTube, because whatever you need, you have it on YouTube. It's a bank of information and cool tutorials. Yeah, and I think YouTube might not have the 100% solution that you're looking for, but you like search for this piece from this YouTube and that, and then put them together and make it solve your problem. It's also a skill that I personally need to develop more.
Yeah, and adding on to like what Jason's saying, I feel like when you look up tutorials on YouTube or like Skillshare and you learn how to use the program, I think that's the first step, is just like diving in and actually try to create something. I think we learned that taking motion as well with Tanya. It's like we hopped in the program and she was like showing us how to use the aspects. So when you kind of follow a tutorial, you're able to like learn the program as well. So you kind of like discover new tools and stuff that you didn't know existed. Because I feel like there's so much you can do with After Effects and all the Adobe programs in general.
Absolutely. Very customizable, very versatile, and you could go off and use any effects in a multiple combinations to get the effect you want. Let's go ahead and see more questions. There we go. All right. I have this one. Do you think sound music plays an important role in a motion piece?
I think so. I think in any video, sound plays a very big role, and it oftentimes is underestimated as visual, because sound, just imagine a movie without sound, it's just half of the fun. As I think it's also in motion design, and the visual matches with the sound is the best quality or best put together experience for the viewer.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I feel like deciding if you want to use audio in alongside a motion piece, I think it's important to like figure that out right away, because it can determine a lot of like the timing and a lot of how design elements come into the scene. Because when you time it with the music, I think it can create an overall feel that just enhances the project to the next level if all the areas are well thought out and then every aspect is considered. Because there are a lot of aspects to consider when you're doing motion design in general too.
True. I have another question. This one's from Jake Briggs, and it's, what are some of the plugins you guys use?
Plugins, I think a big one is like Trapco Suite is like, it allows you to create like particles inside After Effects. That's kind of like a must-have plugin for motion designers. And some of the productivity, like plugins that boost your productivity, I use is like Motion 2, Keysmith, which it allows you to kind of move keyframe around without creating extra keyframe. That's always kind of like a hassle. And then I think Easy Keyframe Copy or something like that allows you to kind of copy the animation curves into another layer or another keyframes, which is super helpful. Yeah, personally, I think those ones I just said is also free. So it definitely is a time saver.
Thank you. I have another question. This one's from Becky Allison. They asked, what YouTube channels do you like to follow? Since we touched on that topic earlier in the discussion. Are there any like at the top of your mind?
I can't really like name anyone at top of my mind because I feel like just YouTube in general. I look up. I tend to like look towards a lot of designers who specify emotion, and then I feel like learning from people who have a lot of experience. Those are the ones who kind of know the vocabulary and can tell you like which tools exactly do what and specify rather than like I feel like there's a lot of like speed run tutorials and then that can like just get the job done. But when you follow someone who's more professional and knows the program, you can learn a lot more through them. That's what I noticed on YouTube.
I think in addition to YouTube, I always go up on Vimeo because it's a lot of high quality motion design stuff on there. It's usually more curated than YouTube because YouTube is more towards a wide range of audience.
Awesome. I have another question. This one's from Peter Emmanuel. Hey, Peter.
Peter.
Project to AE. What would you say is your first step? Is it trying to make things moves? Project to After Effects. What would you say is your first step? Is it trying to make things move?
Are we talking about like how to start a motion design project?
I would assume so. Yeah, like what would be the first steps in going ahead and creating motion?
In my experience, it's always good to kind of sketch things out on paper or design it in Photoshop or Illustrator first to kind of have a brainstorm of what you're trying to do. Because when you directly go into After Effects, it's just a lot to kind of handle, and then it's always nice to kind of storyboard first.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I feel like taking Tanya's class, like that's what kind of like got me so interested in motion because there's a lot of like design and conceptualizing that's kind of similar to the basic graphic design, and then we take that to the next element with like storyboarding and like animation, where I think it's easier to just map out what you want to create first than jumping right into After Effects, and you can kind of get overwhelmed. So you kind of want to create your scenes and like envision how they look from the start to the end, and then I think working along that route, and then you can add to it or like take away, and I feel like that's where I work the best. Yeah.
I feel like even though I say like design it first and all that, I'll often find myself like just break the rule because I just feel like animation is so fun just to start animating, but don't learn from me.
I want to.
We all do. All right. This will be the last question for the discussion. This comes from David. Why is motion design not typically seen in mobile apps? And do you see it gaining more usage in mobile in the near future?
So I feel like this semester I actually created some like micro animations on After Effects. In terms of like UX UI, I feel like After Effects does a really good job at showing the possibilities of like mobile design and what we can see on or what can be created for apps. But I think that I wish that there was more like we took app design to the next level, because I feel like there's so much apps out there, but a lot of them are very similar. But with motion, I feel like the interactions and the micro animations can be taken to the next level and create a new enhanced experience for a lot of the users themselves.
I agree. Well, that is true. You do have a point. It has like a copy and paste sort of feel, but when it's customizable with the motion, it really brings it to life. All right. Well said. I wish I had more time, but I have to say goodbye for now. We will all be in the same room together soon. All right. Bye. Oh, Maggie.
Maggie's here.
Maggie,
I made it.
Want to answer a question?
It's okay. Technical issue.
No. It's okay. I still want it. I want you to be part of it. Let me give you one more question. Let me see what I got. See mobile apps. I remember I saw one earlier. Let me look at my sources. Oh, Maggie, they're all happy to be here with you. All right, perfect. I found one.
Okay.
This one's from Chad. What ways have you been able to work with motion other than graphic design to communicate, such as shooting video or combining mediums to tell a story?
Yeah, so creating your own content in motion graphics is really helpful and important, whether you're collaborating with other people or you're doing it yourself. I mean, our phones are so high tech now that you can do it through your phone, but it helps you so much going out and actually, going out in your environment, trying things out, seeing what works. Sometimes you get inspiration from shooting like a clip of a video, and then you can transform that into your visual graphics or the motion that you're doing. There's other times where I've just shot, certain things that I think are just that they look cool, and then later on a project that I'm working on for motion graphics, I'm like, oh, I could totally use that video that I shot, a few months ago or a few weeks ago. And training yourself to kind of get in that habit will help you, develop and have kind of like backup and a lot of content to choose from. And then you just have more variety and more of your own work. Yeah, it's good to practice both because they're both handy.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Well said. I wish I had more time, but I have to say bye for now. We will all be in the same room together soon. Bye.
Bye.
All right. We will be heading to the UX UI roundtable discussion. Let's meet our participants.
Hey, my name is Hector Octavio, and I'm constantly working on a design practice that explores systems that adapt to ever-changing spaces, one that is based on research and collaboration. I believe that inclusive and intelligent design is key. I look forward to working on projects that involve functional and relevant solutions with the goal of creating a new genre in design. In the future, I hope to create an international collaborative project, helping humble small businesses grow. I hope you enjoy our show.
Hi, I'm Katlinda. I have a strong interest in UI UX and branding because I'm passionate about combining design, psychology, cultures, and technology to develop the world we aspire to see in the future. I like to find my inspiration through traveling and share the multiplicity of culture in my design thinking. I'm excited to learn about new experiences beyond the lens of graphic design. So, let's work together.
Hi, my name is Jessica Matlock, and I'm a graphic designer who enjoys minimalist and clean design. Throughout my time in the program, I've utilized my skills in projects involving corporate identity, UX UI, packaging, and editorial design. While I enjoy all aspects of design, UX UI is my passion and the center of a company's success, which is what I want to be a part of. My goal is to work as an in-house designer while achieving success in my field for my innovative designs that set trends and not only follows them. Hashtag I can start today.
Hey, I'm Benny, and I am a graphic designer who specializes in web design and motion graphics. My favorite projects are those in which I can use design to intuitively explain a concept that might otherwise be complex. And I love using motion whenever I can, from something as simple as a web carousel to a fully realized original character. I'd say in the future, my goal would be to expand my design capabilities into 3D animation, and also the back-end work that goes into implementing that design online.
Hello again. Unfortunately, we have arrived at our last roundtable discussion. I know. Don't cry for me, designers. You already used all of those tears during finals week. There are no more tears left to cry I like how the iconic Ariana Grande once said, but fortunately, we have more amazing participants right now with us. How are you all doing today?
Great.
Good.
Awesome. I'm happy to hear you're all excited as I am to talk about UX UI. Now, let's get started, shall we? As you all know, interface is where human interaction and technology meets throughout a series of design elements, research, wireframes, and testing to go into creating solutions to visual communication. So when you're on that Zoom call or on that phone while your camera is off, you know who you are. Remember that someone designed that. I'm sure our participants will create something as innovative or even more so in the near future. Now, let's get started. First question. Since UX UI is a new field the last couple of decades, what drew your attention to it?
Thanks, Edgar. I'll take that question. I think I've
Thank you,
always
Benny.
been interested in the psychology of UI UX design. Understanding the way people think has to be one of the most important aspects of any design, but especially UI UX. So many of the reasons we consider a website or an app or interface of any kind as well designed is because above all else it was designed with the user in mind. As we become more familiar with digital design, there are more things we come to expect. We recognize patterns, icons, locations, and words, just to name a few. From simple things like what a home button looks like to our ability to quickly navigate a site we are visiting for the first time. There are thoughtful decisions behind all these things, and that's one of the most interesting aspects of UI UX design to me. Another thing that drew me to UI UX design is animation, actually. In recent years, interface and motion design have developed a very close relationship. Just like we are conditioned to recognize certain icons, we've also come to expect things to move a certain way when we interact with them. Micro interactions are all the details that bring UI UX to life. It's the way an image reveals itself when you click a button, or how a menu expands on mouse hover. It's these aspects of design that I find fascinating, and it's really what drew me to UI UX in the first place.
Well said, Benny. I have another question. What is your design process and the tools you use to tackle a project in this field? Can someone answer that for me?
I'll take that. I will say, fortunately, a lot of us who took Sam and Vari's class were taught structure, and we were taught the importance of having a process. Basic steps of UI include research, defining your user, planning your design, and and understanding your user before you build your app. When you research your design, I've learned the value of research and deconstructing similar apps to understand how they failed or how they worked. Research allows us to understand users and what they deem essential to programs while focusing on their frustrations. When you define your customer, the best thing you can do is utilize tools like Mural, Draw.io to create empathy maps, flowcharts, personas for customers. These are also great collaborative programs as well. When you plan your design, you should decide on your assets and the flow of your program. And these are necessary and essential steps before building your app. And then when you do finish all of those steps, you can begin building your prototype, and you decide on what program adheres to your design preferences, whether it's Figma, Sketch, or Illustrator, whatever you're most comfortable with. A lot of us tend to kind of focus on Figma lately because it is something that allows us to show real-time progress and have real-time collaboration with other kind of classmates, I suppose you could say. One of my more successful UI projects was redesigning the Tesla app. I really enjoyed the steps of deconstructing, understanding why I wasn't agreeing with Tesla's design system and what I would like to see as a designer or just a user of the Tesla system, which Tesla it mimics the iOS system, and it's a very familiar platform. So for us, we
actually, got to see what we felt should be better. My main focus was kind of making the icons more visible to the user of the platform, as opposed to kind of keeping it the way it is, which is very similar to Apple, where it's just a lot of text heavy almost, something like that. Yes.
Yeah, I remember we went test driving and experienced the user
Good.
interface. Yeah, it was interesting just getting into that field and doing all the research and the marketing aspects of it with surveys. It definitely did made us invested into the project. I have another question. What are your thoughts on specialization versus generalization in the UX UI industry? Can someone answer that for me?
Yeah, I can take that. I think they both have their pros and cons. Specialists have an advantage when the demand for their skill set is high, but are also more easily impacted by the job fluctuations in the market. And we all can relate to this year situations like travel industry, for example, they're struggling because of the pandemic. And then on the other hand, generalists, it's more adaptable to many environments, but they have to compete with other generalists. So I try to find a middle ground between two. Like I would limit my focus to 2 or 3 subjects that align to my interests, and I still want to be competitive and adaptable, especially now where digital technologies are shaping the future of design. Like I was surprised when I was doing my research for my car interface project. I really get into it, and people who knows me know that I never been interested in cars before. So really, when you work with groups or you work on a project, just be open to new things because you never know if you end up liking it.
100%. I feel like we could all agree to that. We're definitely thrown into projects where we don't know anything about it, but we make it work and we all have our own perception of it. Well, I have another question. Do you think innovative design has room in the industry, or do you think if it ain't broke, don't fix it?
I'll take that one. I believe we should always strive for innovation. As technology progresses, so does our interactive potential. Even if it's on building on existing structures, new media and formats allow us to explore and innovate. And as for the idea of if it ain't broke, don't fix it, to set an analogy, if we think about driving on a dirt road, we'll arrive to the destination, but the journey's going to be super rough. And so why not pave the road? So let's fix and innovate existing structures. And that's when we'll begin to think about user experience. Do we want rough roads or a smooth experience? And for example, in class, we were assigned a project sponsored by Eden Speakerman. Our task was to create an app and find solutions for dead time when traveling. And my solution wasn't to reinvent the wheel, but to pave the road and provide users with a smooth experience when traveling. My research revealed 3 pain points during dead time, which were time management, language, and wayfinding. And so I created an app that provided users with tools they need to travel stress-free and provide them with an avenue for productivity during dead time. So to wrap things up, I like to think tech and design as a global collaborative project. So let's keep pushing and generating new ideas. Let's share those ideas, and let's encourage discovery and innovation for those that will inherit technology and our design language.
Great talk. I enjoyed listening to all your thinking about this topic and especially your projects that you guys mentioned. Now, before I round this table discussion, are there any last words or comments you would like to share before we go to the Q&A portion?
I would like to add to what has been said earlier that there is a growing demand for qualified user experience specialists. The number of digital products is growing steadily. The number of users is growing, and a well-thought-out user experience is what makes it possible for a product to stand out on the market. UX design is something that can make a real impact on business. It increases conversion, satisfaction, retention, and loyalty. Hence, user experience is not an abstract concept. It's always measurable. You can measure time on task success rate, error rate, user satisfaction, and so on. From my own experience, business owners understand the
tell you something. If I say I wasn't emotional, then I would be lying. So let me bring the UX UI participants in for emotional support. It's almost the end, towards our end of the show. Where you guys at? Where my people at? Designers. Jessica, Kathleen, Yulia, Benny. Oh, Hector, I see you. Can you hear me, Hector? Kathleen, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Perfect. Hector, can you hear us? Oh, you might be having a little bit of trouble. All right, Kathleen, you want to answer a question? We have a couple.
Sure.
All right. Oh, he's trying again. Okay. Oh. No. Okay. I have a question. What kind of skill? Oh, this one's from Andy Liu. What? Oh, hello, Jessica. How are you? No, I think they're all coming in. I think they carpool. All right. Let me go ahead and ask the question. This is from Andy Liu. What kind of skills are helpful to have outside of graphic design when going into the UX UI industry?
Yeah, I think learning a basic coding skill will be helpful when you communicate with developer team, because when you actually work for industry and then to make like actual product, you're probably gonna work with other developers. So it's good to have like a communication with basic coding.
I feel you. It's definitely a different language. Oh yeah, go ahead, Hector.
Sorry, I was having some difficulties.
No, you're fine. What matters is now you're here with us.
Cool. Yeah, definitely. I agree with Kathleen and psychology as well. Like, I had this roommate who was studying to get his master's in human factors, and we talk about the importance of cognitive ergonomics and having an understanding of how we interact with computers and screens. And that just brings design to like this whole different level. And so it's like a growing field, but basically it's just a ton of research on how people utilize screens and interfaces. So I think we should like study that and bring it into what we do, so that way we can maximize our usability and efficiency with screens.
True. I mean, I never knew how much went into UX UI. The research definitely plays a big role in setting that foundation of where certain features are going to go. And you can get lost in all that research, but it's definitely very vital, very important.
Yeah.
All right. Let me go ahead and look for another question. Let me go to big marker real quick. All right. Yes, the process is essential. All right. I have a question. How do you design for industries where the UX UI prioritize functionality over aesthetics? So making it look cute rather than like the functionality of it.
Yeah, I can answer that. I think that's something that brought my interest to UI UX at the first place, like prioritizing functionality over aesthetic. Definitely that adds more challenge when designing. But I'm always interested with how people think, behave, and how human interact with technology. So I know that user feedback is really important in UI UX industries. So as long as my design helps people with their everyday life, I think it's already gives me satisfactions and motivation to grow as a designer.
I feel you. Yeah. I have another question, and this is for everyone. I would love to hear your input in this. Where do you see UX UI going next? Where's she going? We want to know.
I think, sorry, if I can talk.
Yeah,
I
go
think it's
ahead.
gonna go into immersion and experience design. There's this artist, his name's, I think it's like Refik Anoldo or something like that. Super interesting guy, and I recommend you guys check him out. He considers himself an architect, and he considers himself that because he builds information environments generated by pure data. And so I think this is going to be like the next method we're going to consume information, and maybe not at his scale, but I think we're close with like VR and AR and projection mapping. So something I'm looking forward to.
Mhm. Definitely. That future technology.
Yeah, it's going to be nuts.
I have another question. And in the 2 years we've been in our program, we've learned Figma, Sketch, and InVision. How do you feel having to constantly relearn new design software?
You know, I was thinking about this the other day too, like all those shortcuts that we have to learn, and then they flip them on us depending on what app we're on. Oh my God. But it's interesting stuff, you know, like it just boosts our productivity and what we can do with our design. So it's cool.
Yeah, we have to constantly be evolving and learning new things. Or we're going to be like, still in the past,
Yeah, if you're not learning, you're falling behind. Yeah.
There we go. Let me go ahead and see any other comments or questions. We love the passion, Hector. Yes, we do.
Thank you, guys. I'm excited to be here.
All right, I have a couple other questions. Okay, this one's from Bennett Moyler. Do you think a voice assistant is getting more important in UX UI? Having like voice assistants, AI, all that, is it important
Yeah.
in UX UI?
Sorry, I want to give someone else a chance. Well, I'll talk a little bit. There was this the assignment that Jessica spoke about with Sam and redesigning the car interface, and that's one of the things I was keeping in mind was like if someone has like a disability and they're not able to like see the screen or hear, like what are we supposed to do? And so I think like we should continue to tackle that problem, and even if it's not functional like or useful for everyone, like it's functional for someone. So let's not forget about those features that our apps have and our designs can utilize.
Absolutely. Yeah. Let's see. I have more questions. Y'all thought I was done. All right. This one comes from David. What do you think will be the next big thing in UX design? I feel like, well, I'm gonna let you guys say something. What do you think is the next big thing in UX design? You kind of touched upon it a little bit, Hector, but let's see what everybody else thinks. You guys want to skip? All right, let's skip the question. Well, I guess we can go to a different one. It's Angel Fool on YouTube said, what are some of the biggest trends in the UX design industry right now? Too hard?
I think I can say simplicity, and then what else? Gradients color.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then also like 3D is coming in.
I feel you. Yeah, very that. And I feel like it's always going to be like making the consumer's life easier, like above everything. Like trends will come here and go, but we're always focusing on the user. Am I right?
Yeah.
Period. All right. I have another question. David Hop 11 on YouTube said, "How will VR AR change the implementation of UX UI?" Oh, Hector, I think your audio is muted. Hello? Yeah, we can't hear you. No, I'm sorry. Ah! Technical difficulties. Do you know sign language? Try getting out and getting back in, Hector. All right, thank you. I'm glad he could hear us from this side. Am I right? I'll just go to a next question, or unless you guys want to answer that question. It's how will VR AR change the implementation of UX UI?
I think it definitely is gonna be helpful for the user to have like AI and VR.
I feel like it's gonna be even more authentic to like real life, which just sounds kind of scary. Am I right? It's gonna be a little too real. Okay. Speak, Hector. No. It's okay. Do you have a whiteboard?
Yeah.
Oh, we can hear you now. We can hear you. Yeah, come back.
Oh, you can hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yay.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh.
That was a journey, am I right?
Heck yeah. So back to the question, like I was thinking about this the other day too. This is so useful for people who like can't go out. So say someone's hospitalized and like wants to visit or access like information somewhere. Like VR and AR allow immersion. So like it may not be that they're there, but the information is there, and so it's like super helpful there as well.
Very convenient. I have another question. This one is also from It's Angel Fool on YouTube. What are some of the biggest challenges you face as a UX designer?
I think staying on trend is one of the biggest challenges as a designer. You do have to continue researching and understanding your customer or your user and the trends that are going on that are making these apps so innovative.
Yeah, like keeping up with everything that's going on, like the high tech and the trends. Absolutely. I personally feel like the tough part is the research, you know? That's like one of the biggest challenges because you're trying to make sure you're you're making sure the user would be satisfied with all the changes or overall just the functionality of the product itself. It's hard to please everyone, but we try to take in as much input as we can in order to fix all the adjustments and making sure that everything is, overall just helping the consumer because that's all we want to do, making life easier for everyone. And like how Hector said about making sure it's smooth paths, All right. That was actually the last question I had. I forgot to give you guys a little heads up. But it was great seeing all your beautiful faces, and I hope to see you guys soon. Hopefully 2021. Fingers crossed. All right. It was great talking to you guys. Bye.
Bye.
Weren't they amazing? All right. Perfect. All right. Oh, there's Hanar. There you go. Okay. Sorry. I was wondering where you were. There. The lights are bright, but I can still see you. Okay.
They were glasses or contacts.
No, my vision is 2020, but on
Oh,
a good
that's
day, it's
right.
on a good day. And today is a good day, okay?
It's really a good day.
Mm-hmm.
So what's next, Edgar?
Actually, we're towards the end of our show. Mm-hmm.
Already? It's too soon.
Mm-hmm.
Well, but I guess it's time to go home, right?
Well, it's easier for you to say. You like live here. I have to go home.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Let's go.
Anyway, but I guess I wanna mention that we have the thank you package, so don't forget to
Oh yeah.
sign up on the Google Docs. And
Oh yeah. Well, okay. Let's go back to the show. I just want to say that fortunately we have everyone's contact information and their portfolios on our website for everyone to navigate through. Mm-hmm.
that sounds great. Don't forget to click down below if you don't want to miss the opportunity to get one of our thank you packages with the cool merch we created for you.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for reminding us about that, Hanar. And you know what we should do?
What?
Well, I had in mind that we could wrap up this live stream with a heartfelt overview of our show.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
In that case, I can't think of any other way than hearing it from one of the professors. My great love.
Yes, you're right. You're absolutely right. If Tracy Chapman plays in the background as he reads that outro, there will be waterfalls. Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately for you, we cannot afford that.
Oh yeah. I mean, true. You're right. You're right. We can't afford the copyrights. All right.
It was great having you here today. I'm glad that you took the time with your busy holiday schedules to watch our graphic design show. We greatly appreciate all of your amazing classmates and everyone who helped building this event.
Mm-hmm. Even though we were like sleep deprived and having an occasional mental breakdown every here and there, it was so satisfying hearing everybody, seeing all the beautiful comments, and we just want to say that we greatly appreciate everything. Mm-hmm.
And we also want to say thank you to our professors who nurtured our design skills and our careers for the better.
Yeah. Oh, don't forget the families.
Oh, no, families first. How can I? They helped us and believed in us when we forgot to do so ourselves.
Mm-hmm. I love you, Papa, Mama, Victor, Isaac. Gracias por todo el apoyo.
It's por ti, mami.
All right. Thank you. Thank you and happy holidays.
Hindsight. It can be so easy to look back. You know, to have the luxury of having done something wrong, only to get it perfectly right the next time. It's called hindsight. It seems easy enough. But don't let the smooth taste fool you. Because what comes before hindsight is having the courage to do something, sometimes blindly, not with the wind at your back, but blowing like the Santa Anas in your face. Not giving a damn really whether you succeed or fail, but pushing ahead anyway. Gathering scraps of knowledge as you go of what the heck went wrong. Not so you can get it perfect, but so you can make it better. You can see that in spades as you click across the screen. A collective of work from 25 graphic design BFA students who dare to reflect on each step as they go. The next generation of designers who refuse to be imprisoned like caged birds, who choose each day to look back just so they can forge ahead. The work here is only the beginning, a long way from where it started, and maybe even longer from where it will be. But that's the beauty of hindsight, isn't it? You get to reflect and choose to see what you want to see. It is hardly a perfect science, but for this show and for all of us so far, hindsight is 2020.
me. I mean, everyone. Really?
The camera moved. I mean,
hi everyone. We just wanted to say thank you for joining us. It was this was a journey, and we really appreciate that you came and you had the time to see this. And also, we want to remind you to go visit our website if you want to see more of our work. And we'll be posting this video later on. We'll send you the information so you can watch it again or share it if you're interested.
absolutely.
So, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.